Hey people, welcome to the channel and another Comrades Marathon training update. We're now less than 3 weeks to go until race day. It's getting serious now. I've just put in another good solid 7 days training, done a bunch of stuff. Here is a quick look at what I've got up to over the last 7 days to try and get myself ready for those lumps and bumps that are coming in the 55-mile Comrades Ultra. So before I go into that, I just want to say a huge thanks to everyone who's commented and offered support. Whether you've done the Comrades before and you've come up with some brilliant tips, helping me kind of understand the course better, or you just weighed in, had a look at my Strava training and said, you're probably going to be all right with what you've done. This stuff all really helps, builds the confidence, but it's also lovely to hear about how you've approached this race in the past. So big thanks to people like Jonathan, John, Bev, Matt. Loads of you out there have offered up advice and tips and support. So thank you very much for that. Keep them coming. So then we've come to Richmond again. We're on a different hill this time. This one behind me, it's kind of short, it's quite sharp. It's fairly steep, it's paved. At the end you've got some steps you go up. I've got about half an hour. I'm going to go up and down that as many times as I can and just see where we get to. Get some more elevation in the legs, but yeah, let's go give it a crack. So 6 or 7 reps done, I think about 25 minutes, but I'm going to be late for my evening meeting, so I've stopped. I've got a few miles back to where I'm meeting the people, but that's a good hill that is. I felt good on that. I think it's a bit shorter than the one that I did in Richmond Park, but it's quite nice. And you get these kind of steps at the end, which really kind of dig. So you it's almost like cresting the hill, but you've got these steps which get a bit steeper and it makes it a bit more difficult. So good up, steeper downs, heart rate up for a bit. Nice bit of work on the quads tonight, not too much, but tacked into probably what's going to be about a 10-mile run as well. So yeah. Another happy workout done. So in addition to that kind of 9-mile run with a bunch of hills in between, the other days of the week I've done a couple of kind of 7-mile runs, very, very easy paced, mixing those in. I'm now got to a point where 7 miles feels pretty comfortable. That's starting to feel like a short run again, which is great. After that, on the Saturday though, I also went and played football. My son had a football tournament. It was a parents and coaches tournament. I coach his team. It's supposed to be non-competitive, sort of friendly, not too serious. But there's a big but. I think I did like 4 or 5 miles running on the football pitch in about 50 minutes. But essentially, took it way too seriously. And then the morning after that, I had to go and run the Hackney Half. And I can tell you right now, waking up the morning before the Hackney Half Marathon, I felt worse in terms of how my body felt. I was a complete tin man than I did from any morning running along the Danube, and that will show you exactly the damage that football does if you've not been playing it recently. But then I trekked all the way over to Hackney and went and ran that half marathon on field, and here's how that went. So another training day, it's Sunday, it's Hackney Half. We're going to be racing today, got a half marathon ahead of me. Played football yesterday though, so that is not worked out very well. I can barely move, I'm very, very stiff, and but we will see how we get on. Let's go and have a look. Nice and steady and slow, I should imagine. Done. I don't know, 130 something, I don't know. 130. It's done. So despite being kind of really, really stiff and sore, I approached the Hackney Half in a way. I basically just went out and I knew I was going to have to ease into it. So I just ran entirely on field, covered my watches again like I have done with some of the other recent runs. And I just kind of tried to run my way into it. Just went with how the body felt, pretty much what I did all the way along the Danube. And the funniest thing is that I ran actually really well. I ran consistently. I ended up getting negative splits. Actually did it in 1:30.52, I think was my official time in the end. And I felt completely in control the whole race. The body kind of loosened off from the stiffness. And I had a great day. I was sort of passing people the whole way through. And it's convinced me that running on feel is entirely my best way to race. I really enjoy it. Every time I've gone and done it so far, it's just not only given me a time that I'm really happy with based on how I felt at the start, but also I've been surprised by those times sometimes. But also I've just really enjoyed all the races. I've feeling of being in control and going past people and having something towards the end because you're always running just under that kind of limit. You're always in control, sensible, steady control. This is kind of a real kind of eye-opener for me. And this is definitely, I think the context here for the Comrades is huge. And although it's more difficult to do this when you're facing heat and hills, to a certain extent, gauging what is, running within yourself and running within your limits, this is going to be the way that I'm going to approach this race. I will wear watches, I will cover them, and I will just run on how I get the sense of how my heart rate's feeling, how my breathing is, how my body feels, and I will aim just to constantly run under my limits and within myself until I reach such a point where I know there's potential for me to kind of maybe push on a little bit more. And we'll just see what we get. It's a great way to run because you essentially, you always feel in control of the race. You're never pushing beyond. You never feel like the race has gotten away from you. It should, in theory, help prevent me getting 20 miles in and wishing someone would stick me on a bus. But anyway, so yeah, really happy with how that's gone. The Hackney Half finishing off what's another really good training week. I'm going to give myself a little bit of time to recover now. One of the other things I've added in this week that I haven't mentioned, I'm going to do a bit of that for the first 2 days of this week, is I've been walking in the morning. So I think I've walked about 10 miles as well on top of all that training. In the mornings I'm getting out, clearing my head with a half an hour walk, doing a couple miles. Now this is great. I think just a really good way to start the day. Anyway, it sort of helps me. I come back, I'm more creative in my job. But also there are going to be walking sections of the Comrades. And so if you've not done any walking training, I think that can kind of hamper you and your body's not quite used to it. So just putting in little stints of walking at pace. And when I say walking, I'm kind of marching. So I'm looking at how fast. I think I'm moving at around kind of 14, 15 minute miles when I'm marching. So, getting my head around what that's going to mean for when I'm going to do the walking bits within the Comrades, which is guaranteed to be walking bits up those hills. I think that's going to come in handy. So another week ticked off, 3 weeks to go. Not much more I can do now in terms of my overall training. I will just keep the engine ticking over, keep consistent, get to the start line fresh. I'm pumped. I can't wait to go and do this. And as ever, it's massive thanks to Marathon Tours and Travel who have been helping me out with getting me out there and all the logistics. There are links in the caption below here if you want to find out about Marathon Tours and Travel's packages. They really help take the logistics sort of side of things and that pain out of your thinking when you're leaving you free to get ready and do your training and worry about all the other stuff. About how much it's going to hurt the quads, basically, I think it's taken up 95% of my brain space at the moment. But with any luck, we'll be good to go. But yeah, Comrades, it's coming soon time. Been listening to the songs that you all recommended. Been trying to get my head into that kind of space for what it's going to be like on the start line. And I cannot wait. So yeah, a couple more runs, get my kit ready, sort out my fueling, and we will be ready to go. But thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, ring the bell, do all of those things. Hit me up in the comments below. Let me know how your training is going. Let me know what you're training for. What's your big goal? What have you been doing? How's it all going? Love to hear all of that. So please do get in touch and say hello. And thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon.